Oh, and welcome to Cigar Box Guitars, aka the Dutchman in San Marcos, and we welcome you to another episode of the Total Wine Box Cigar. And so let's get going. Oh, so here we go with another episode of the Total Wine. I'm trying to pull it up here. Let me get it over here. The Total Wine Cigar Box, if you haven't seen it. And I'm doing it because of this right here. If you can see that. Made exclusively for Total Wine. So that's the cigar box we're working on. We got the neck. We got this. We got it all glued up, and I got it nice and sanded. So now it just needs like a, just a smooth sanding. But I shaped this. It feels good in my hand. That's where I shape them to how it feels in my hand. So the next step, and then we were working on getting, as you know, see there's the marks. We were working on getting all these cut out, and as you can see, we got them all cut out. So our next step is to get, and once I do this, then I'm pretty much done. And our next step is to get this glued on the fretboard. And I won't fret it until this is all glued down and sealed. So we're gonna have to check the level of this, and then see if it's flat enough, and then we'll glue it together. So let me get you set up at the bench so you can see what I'm doing overhead, and then we'll get going. So let me get you moved around. Okay, so here we go. I got you set up there. Let me know which shot you like. I think I got it because I got everything covered. And so let me know if you like this shot. I'm trying to find different positions so that you can see it good. And I think this is a pretty good overhead shot. So like I was saying, we got all this in here. We got the box ready, and now we're ready to glue the fretboard on here. So there's a few things we have to do before we glue this on here. We've got to check and see how level this is. It's sanded somewhat, but we might need to level this more so we get it as square as we can. So the way we do that is we take a straight edge. And this is my straight edge, and we put it down on it, and if you tip it on its side, you can see overall this thing looks really square. So if we know this thing is square, there's really no dips, maybe a little right in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do, see I got a little bump there where I put the toothpicks in. The toothpick went in here and here. So this overall is really nice and level. So I'm just going to clean it up with some real fine grit of my new sander. So let me get that set up because I got to get it plugged in and I won't bore you with that. Okay, here we are. I got my handy dandy sander out. When I was cleaning this up, I was actually using this all over this piece to clean it up. And now it's still kind of rough. So I thought I should be able to hit some of this and make sure this is nice and flat. And when I do it, I'll have it real flat. This was an 80 grit. You can see it's pretty rough. I did buy some 220. And you can see how smooth it is. That's a 220. So we'll put the 220 on. They're just a little big, but they do stick on there. So we'll get this on here. The little overlap is nice. I'm still playing around with the speed of it to see what works best. So we'll get this on. What we'll do first is we'll hit this part to get it nice and smooth. I've got it on 5, but I think I'm going to go a little lower. I'm going to try 3 out and see how that works. So here we go. So I don't want to go too much, just enough to get it nice and smooth. I don't want to change the architect of it because right now she's pretty square. I'm looking at it on the side to look for spaces, gaps between it. And it's pretty smooth. So the next spot, I'm going to kind of do a little bit of this neck. Kind of broke my own rule. I didn't put my mask on, so I'm not going to do it too long. But I could probably use a little more of that. But it doesn't matter once I have this glued down. So once we get this glued down, I can still sand more of this. But it started cleaning it up nice. So let's set this aside. And let's get at the gluing of the fretboard. Now this thing's going to be all over the place, but I'm just checking it. See, because it's cut. So as you can see, this will flex a little bit. So, but even with it just cut on its own, it's still pretty square. So let's get this glued down. Let me get the stuff set up for getting that glued down to this. We'll use our handy dandy level, and I'll get a bunch of clamps because that way I won't be running for. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I think I got everything I need. I got all my clamps, as you can see. We got the fretboard. The important thing about this is to make sure I get it going this way. I do have a line mark to give me a space for the divider piece. I might not use bone. I'm thinking about using, I've got a little piece of brass, because with the 0 fret you want the string going all the way, breaking on the 0 fret, and this piece here is just to space it so it holds the spacing. So let's get some glue on this baby and on our neck, and then let me get this out. I'll get our shish kebab holder. Because this one's long enough. So let's get some glue going here. Get that glue on there with my handy dandy brush. I like to spread it out, but then I kind of go shy on it. They got to work it because I don't want to get a lot of glue on, because I'll put some on the other side too. And this stuff doesn't set up really quick. So that way I don't have as much squeeze out. But squeeze out's no problem because I can always sand it off, because like I said, I'm sanding this later. It's more getting the coverage underneath. Proper coverage underneath is going to be the key to holding this all together. That much on the edge. The only problem I might have, and I'm not doing the pins on this one, is this thing sliding. But I'll show you a little trick I always do to help it from not sliding around. It helps somewhat, but you gotta kind of be careful. And with this glue, you got a little bit of time for things to kind of get tacky. Coverage is the key. That's why I'm using the little brush because that helps with coverage. I can see the dry spots. I think that's got it. And this one I'm trying to get the utmost amount of coverage. So let me set this in my jar. Get a glass of water over here. I'm going to have to put more water in there. So here we go. We'll set this on to the line. Now what I like to do is get a couple underneath. Just like that. So it doesn't slide this way. that kind of locks it in. So then all they have to worry about are these lines. And I make sure this one's flush. Then we set this guy on top. And we'll start with the first one. Give it another look. Trying to get that shish kebab going. Tighten them up now to get that good downward pressure. And we'll do another one. I think I might have a few more. Never going to have enough clamps on this because we want it to get, check my edge. Never wanted to give it good pressure. And maybe one more. I'll be right back. I got another one over here. We'll get a back one. Get a back one right here. As you can see, we got quite the shish kebab. So we'll let that dry, and that should do it for this week. Can't do much more on the neck, and then we can fret it once we get it. I'll just double check before I call that it. We'll double check everything. Looks good. Looks good. So yeah, so that'll be it for this week. We'll let this dry. Next week we'll be dropping the metal frets in, and maybe even drilling some holes in the back. I would do it now, but my bench always gets so filled up while I'm letting this dry up, and I don't want to move it around too much because I got it almost perfectly set. So let me get you down here. All right, so there we have it. The gluing up of the fretboard to the neck. We sanded it up a little bit, made sure it was level. We'll check that level after this is all glued together. And we might have to sand that neck again. Same thing when we put the frets on. I'm going to be a little bit more tedious with my necks. In the past, I've had some that buzzed, and I'm going to try to shape them more this time. So, yeah, so I hope you enjoy. We'll see you next Saturday. Keep watching the show, subscribe, like. Also, I didn't get any comments about my little saw that I was cutting these frets with. If you know of a better, and actually Dremel, I just saw it online. and I didn't see it in the stores yet, but they actually make, they're calling it a portable table saw, which it all folds out of the box. And let me know if you've seen that or even tried it. I don't want to get it and it not be strong enough, but it actually cuts like a little table saw. It might be just perfect for fretting cuts or fret cutting, because it has a thing you can slide in there, and the box turns into like the little top of it, and that might be what I'm looking for. I've got Dremels, so to put a Dremel in that, maybe they just sell the box by itself, but I think it comes as a complete kit. So let me know if you have checked that out before. And with that, throw some comments, be sure to like, tell your friends. Also coming up at noon, if you're watching this at noon on Saturday, is my next show, the Red Wing Clay Train, and so that'll be number 3, I think. So I'm getting ready to shoot that right behind me, right over here. And so we'll see you then. Have a great weekend.